What is going on, everyone? This is Eric coming at you from just outside of Hartford, Connecticut, and today we are going to be discussing the Matt Schaub trade, which occurred back on March 8th, 2007. Now, this trade was between the Houston Texans and the Atlanta Falcons, and saw Houston acquire quarterback Matt Schaub along with a draft pick from Atlanta in exchange for 3 draft picks. Now, it should be noted that Atlanta did originally acquire the draft pick that they used to pick Schaub in a previous trade. We did discuss this in the Bob Sanders trade breakdown, which will be linked in the description below. Without further ado, let's start by discussing the Houston Texans. So, of course, the first player we're going to look at is quarterback Matt Schaub. And Schaub, his first 2 seasons in Houston were similar, and there was the good moments, but there were the bad moments. He looked good, but he looked inconsistent at other times. Now, he played 11 games in each of those 2 seasons due to various injuries, so there were some concerns about him, but he did show some very strong chemistry with wide receiver Andre Johnson in those 2 years. Now, he would break out big time in 2009 as he led the league in passing attempts, completions, and yards as he threw for 4,770 yards that year. He led the team to a 9-7 record, which was Houston's first season finishing above 500. Now, he would make the Pro Bowl for his efforts, and he was also named Pro Bowl MVP as he had a good game. Now, he did regress slightly in 2010, but he rebounded nice and had a solid start to the 2011 season before a foot injury ended his season after 10 games. Now, 2012 was probably Schaub's best year, relatively speaking. He threw for 527 yards in a game against Jacksonville that year, which actually has him tied for second in most yards in a single game in NFL history. That's a nice record to be, right at the top for. Now, he led the team to a 12-4 record, but they didn't make too much noise in the playoffs that year. He was named to the Pro Bowl for his efforts. Now, 2013 was a bad year for him. He threw a pick 6 in 4 consecutive games, which is an NFL record and not a good one to have. Now, he would end up getting injured that year, and then even when he was healthy, he remained on the bench. Now, he ends up getting traded to the Oakland Raiders, but for his time in Houston, he was a 2-time Pro Bowler and a 1-time Pro Bowl MVP. Now, Schaub was traded to Oakland in exchange for a 2014 6th-round pick. This would become the 181st pick. With that, the team would select running back Alfred Blue, and Blue was a solid backup running back for 5 years in Houston. He would rush for 2,407 yards on 673 carries for the team, while adding 8 touchdowns on the ground. He could also catch the ball if needed to. He had 69 catches for the team, which resulted in him getting 470 yards, but he did walk after the 5 years were up. Now, the Texans also got a draft pick in 2007. This would be the 10th overall pick, and they would use that to select defensive tackle Amobi Okoye. Now, Okoye was the youngest ever first-round pick in NFL history. He was 19, so it's always crazy when that happens. It happened recently as well with Edmonds, but yeah, so pretty cool. But he started off his career strong. He actually recorded 4 sacks in his first month playing football, but that would be the peak of his career, unfortunately. He would only have 1.5 sacks in the rest of the season after that month. And then he combined to have 5.5 sacks over the next 3 years for the Houston Texans. Now, there were times, too, where they moved him to defensive end when they needed to, but he just never could figure it out, and then he ends up getting released. So Okoye was not the best pick. Now, next we have the Atlanta Falcons. So Atlanta got 3 draft picks in exchange for Schaub. Now, the first one we'll look at is a 2007 pick, which was the 8th overall. They would use that to select defensive end Jamal Anderson. Now, Anderson, he started as a rookie, but he didn't record any sacks for the team. Now, he recorded 2 sacks in 2008, but his struggles continued into 2009, where he only recorded half a sack. Now, this ended up moving him to a reserve role in 2010, but he actually had a decent year. He recorded 2 sacks over 16 games, 3 of which were starts. But Atlanta was just fed up with his lack of production, so they ended up releasing him. Next, we have a 2007 pick that was the 39th overall selection. With that, they would select guard Justin Bullock, and Bullock started 125 of a possible 128 games over 8 seasons, and he was a solid starter, but not a superstar. It's always tough to get, stats and stuff like that on guards, so not much I can say. The fact that he hung around in the starting lineup for 8 years speaks about itself. Now, they also got a 2008 second rounder. This would become the 48th overall pick, and they would trade that to Washington. Now, they got 3 picks for 3 picks. So the first one we'll look at is the 21st overall selection in 2008, With that, they would select offensive tackle Sam Baker. And Baker, he was eased into action as a rookie, but he became the starting left tackle in his second year in Atlanta. He had a pair of solid but not spectacular years in 2009 and 2010, where he started 30 of a possible 32 games. He lost his starting job after 6 games in 2011, but he ended up getting another chance in 2012. He rewarded Atlanta with a career year, but they ended up signing him to a big extension, which was a regretful move. Now, he struggled early in 2013 before injuring his knee 4 games into the season. Now, he would injure his knee again early in the 2014 season, and Atlanta, fed up with him, they ended up waiving him before the 2015 season. So there was a lot of criticism with that contract extension. Now they also got 2 more picks in 2008. The next one was the 84th overall selection, which they used to select wide receiver Harry Douglas. And Douglas served as a kick returner and a wide receiver 3 or 4, depending on the game, as a rookie. And he would actually return a kick for a touchdown as a rookie. Now he missed all of the 2009 season due to a knee injury. And then over the next 3 years, he would only start in 9 games. But he was still involved in the offense, recording 99 catches for 1,187 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, he had a career year in 2013, recording career highs in targets with 132, catches with 85, and yards with 1,067, while adding a pair of touchdowns. Now, 2014, he regressed a little bit. He did have 556 yards and 2 touchdowns that year. Now, he would walk as a free agent after the year. He was released, and he would walk, I should say. So, it is what it is. Now, they also got the 154th pick in that draft, 2008, and with that, they would select defensive end Croy Bierman. And Bierman was mostly a special teamer and a reserve player for the first 2 years, but he would become a starter in his 3rd season, where he recorded his first career interception, which happened to be a pick 6. Now, he was moved back to a reserve role for the 11 and 12 seasons, and he recorded 4 sacks in 2012. Now, he recaptured his starting job in 2013, but he tore his Achilles early in the season. He returned in 2014 and recorded a career-high 4.5 sacks in his starting role, but he was moved back to a reserve role in 2015, which ended up leading to him walking as a free agent. So that's what Atlanta and Houston got. What did the other 2 teams get? We'll start with the Oakland Raiders, who got quarterback Matt Schaub, and Schaub spent a single season as a backup after losing the starting job or, the quarterback battle to rookie David Carr, and he was just like, all right, I'll have better opportunities elsewhere, so he walked as a free agent. Not the best, but you gave up a 6th-round pick for a good backup, a good mentor to Carr. Can't complain. Now, lastly, we have the Washington football team. They got 3 picks in 2018. The first one was the 34th overall selection. They would use that to pick wide receiver Devin Thomas. Now, over 2.5 seasons, he would start 11 games. He did appear in 34, though. He was mostly a special teamer, but he did make some plays on offense. He did catch 40 passes for 445 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also ran for a touchdown, but after the 2.5 seasons, he ended up getting waived because they were not getting enough production from him. Now, they also got the 48th pick that year, and they used that to select tight end Fred Davis. And Fred Davis was a non-factor as a rookie, but he ended up spending most of his second year as a starter. He ended the year with a career-high 6 touchdowns, too. Now, his stats would take a hit in year 3, but his 4th year saw him have career highs in targets with 88, catches with 53, and yards with 796. He missed 4 games that year due to a failed drug test, so you can only wonder how good he could have been were it not for that. Now, he started off the 2012 season decently, but he would tear his Achilles in week 7, and by 2013, he fell out of favor. He was in the coach's doghouse a lot, and he was actually a healthy scratch for this reason. So, he ended up taking the hints, and he walked as a free agent. Lastly, we have the 103rd pick, which was traded away. We will not be discussing that. Anyway, this was the Matt Schaub trade. Like I said, the original selection of Matt Schaub by the Atlanta Falcons was a draft day trade, so we did discuss that in the Bob Sanders video. It will be linked in the description below. But this was the Matt Schaub trade. This is one of those trades where, it's tough to call a real winner. Each team, excluding Oakland, got someone at least. So, yeah, this was the Matt Schaub trade. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good rest of your day.